Hello everybody! Minasan, konnichiwa! Ikuzo! It's me, Tokkuri Yashi, your pantry friend. Hope you are all well, and with this new story event we have been given, the first Wizarding Days Magic Academy and Miracle Bell, we will be getting a Transfer Student Suzuna, and we have already been given the Transfer Student Karyl, or Kiyaru, whichever way you prefer to pronounce her name. And that's what we will be looking at today, the Transfer Student Karyl, and to see whether or not she's any good. So let's jump over and have a little look. Now this is a limited banner again, another limited character here till the 12th. You do get the 200 shards as it is their first appearance, so that's something to consider. And here is her Union Burst, Bloom Witch Burst, which greatly increases magical attack and crit rates of all magic using allies and deals large magic damage to the furthest enemy target. My first thought on this is it could be very good for, well, it could be useful in PvP because you might want to snipe out that annoying character right at the back that is buffing the team. Perhaps Maho, perhaps it's Ameth at the back, maybe it's a Uni or a Yuki, and this, as long as it can do the damage, would be handy for that. The damage output on it is, I would say it's okay, but it's nothing crazy. It's not crazy damage coming here. It's not a damaging unit character at all. Definitely a support character, so the damage is not the main focus for this Karyl. The other use for this is in Lunar Tower. When you're fighting a boss or a fight which has got one of those TP boosting bots right at the back. Again, I mean, in the past maybe Halloween Miyako was used for that. Now this Karyl can hit that right at the back, and it could be useful in that Lunar Tower scenario. Here, Skill 1, Book of Enhancement, which greatly increases magical attack and action speed of all magic using allies. And the attack speed is a 160 times buff, which is the same as the Edo Yuki, so it's pretty nice little action speed buff there, and again for all magical using allies. Now for her skill 2, which is Light of View, and it moderately increases physical and magical defense, as well as restoring small CP to all allies in range. Now the range of this is 250, but it is centered on the furthest friendly target. So if we jump across here quickly, we can have a little look at what that might mean. Now we have got, as you can see here, our Transfer Student Karyl sitting quite close to the back of the field at position 804 down here. There are not many characters further back than here, mostly Kyoka's, Yunis, Yuki and one Misaki there. So it is very likely that this Karyl will be the furthest back character on the team, and if she is, that means the buff will go forward to position 554. So if we jump forward, we can see that goes up to here. So it cuts off at, well, I think, there we go, Summer Yui will just be in. So it will cut off here, and there are not many characters here that are a bit much further forward that will not be getting the buff that are that meta-relevant. Maybe Warlock Jita is one you might consider. Perhaps 6-star Anna if he was trying to use that PvP team with her, would not be getting this skill 2 buff, but it's not that big a deal because it's only the skill 2 buff that is in range. They would still be getting as magical users the skill 1 and the Union Burst. So it's not that big a deal, this range, and it does get most of the magical characters in the game. This, however, will make her, I think, well, she's competing with this ceremonial Ilya for what she does. They are very similar characters, both with action speed buff, both with buffing magical damage, etc, etc. The Ilya's buff only goes back 150, so there are a lot of units, a lot of characters that Ilya will not buff, which means this Karyl is, in most cases, probably going to be the better character to use, especially if they are more rear-facing in your team. The Ilya will work very well if you have more front-facing characters in the team, maybe Anne and Grey, some of these ones up here. But the Karyl, being with the bigger buff range, is getting more of the characters. So it is more likely that she will be best character to pick. But then again, in a general rule, the Ilya is more front-facing buffs, Karyl is more of a rear-facing buff, although she does cover a lot of the characters in the game. So let's jump back across over here, and there really isn't much more to see, just the EX skill, School Day Shyness, which moderately increases magical attack, and at 5 stars will greatly raise magical attack. So there we have it, the Transfer Student Karyl, a rear-facing support character who is actually quite a good character, and I imagine she is very popular. So if Karyl is one of your favourites or your favourite, you will probably be summoning in anyway, and that is perfectly fine. Like, you don't give me say that's perfectly fine. You can do that. You can summon for her. Otherwise, if you have Edo Yuki, if you have Ceremonial Ilya, although I said there is different places to use them, perhaps you might want to hold off a little on this if you're going for the meta game. I have seen some testing though of this Transfer Student Karyl against the EX6 boss, that Poseidon, comparing her to Ceremonial Ilya and Edo Yuki on the same composition. It was the 3 Nenekas and Maho, and then all 3 were swapped out at the end, and this Transfer Student Karyl did manage to do the most damage in that composition. The Ceremonial Ilya was just behind her with the second most damage, and the Edo Yuki was in 3rd place, still doing a decent amount of damage in the 3. So it does seem to show that certain compositions, at least, this Transfer Student Karyl is very competitive and is potentially the best choice to pick for that team. Remember, Crashita should be coming soon, and there's always going to be lots of new characters that have their first appearance, just like Lariel that we have had, which will be also potentially releasing by the new year. So there we go. This Karyl probably is a good buff and a good friend for Lariel, if you did get her. But otherwise, you may want to consider just saving your gems if you don't have many. But otherwise than that, let me know what you think of this Transfer Student Karyl, and I will see you all again for another video. Bye for now, everybody. Bye 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 bye.